Fireworks dazzling the night sky up above and decorative lights drenching a city down below tell us of an atmosphere of celebration. Tell us of celebration in the city, of celebration in the city of Patna, of celebration of birth, of celebration of 100 years of Bihar's birth, of Centenary Year Bihar in the year 2012. 2012 for all Biharis is the festive year of independence, the festive year of pride, the festive year of progress. Bihar has made unprecedented progress in the past few years, has once again begun leading India on many fronts, and has started establishing new paradigms of a political leadership pledged for resurrection. The Centenary Year celebration saw the arrival of the Nepalese Prime Minister even on the 17th of February 2012 to illumine new lights of hope of improvement of mutual relations. For him, Bihar has evolved and established itself as a new model of progress and development. Welcome to Bihar.
Welcome to Bihar with a pranam in the quintessentially Bihari tradition. Centenary Year Bihar, our Bihar, everyone's Bihar. Centenary Year Bihar. Important although are all those years that we passed through in the course of reaching the centenary year, but the centenary year gains special importance because today Bihar has climbed to the second position in the country in terms of growth rate, because today World Bank has declared Patna to be the second best place in the country to start a new business venture, because today national and international agencies and organizations feel that unhindered progress will now take place in Bihar, because today Bihar has become a synonym for growth and development. Therefore today, our minds are flooded with the memories of 1912, the year Bihar was born, and when with a meager 1.25 crore rupees, Bihar began to toddle. The undivided Bihar, about which it was euphemistically said that it was the richest state underground while the poorest state overground. In the past 100 years, Bihar was torn as under thrice. All its underground riches went away in a stroke, and it completed 100 years of its overground poverty this year in 2012. Yet today, the atmosphere is changed.
A global summit was held in Patna on the 17th, 18th and 19th of February 2012. Apart from eminent people and leaders from various sectors of the country, representatives of 24 different nations also attended it. Countless were the faces of fervor, with forms new, norms new. Startling was to see that the very world which had deplored Bihar to the extent of denouncing it as a bad land, censoring and escaping even its shadows, the big and the best from that very world assembled here happily to register, to record, to observe, to preserve, to take part, to give a part in the ongoing process of transformation of Bihar. Was it a one-off incident, a mere chance?
No, nothing happens by chance in this universe, never. From the movement of a molecule to the most mesmerizing miracle, everything has deep and definite reasons. Whether one knows about them or not, understands them or not, accepts them or not, it's a different matter altogether. But nothing happens by chance. Apart from this, there is no uniformity in nature, there is only diversity. For instance, somewhere we have lofty mountains, somewhere we have unfathomable seas, somewhere there are areas that get drowned in floodwaters every year, while somewhere there are deserts from times immemorial. Similarly, the character of one place is different from the character of another place. The disposition of a certain tract of land, the character of things endemic to it, the nature of people residing there, their worldview, philosophy, everything is different from others, distinct and unique. Then in that case, what is the nature of this tract of land that we call Bihar? What kind of subterranean currents, almost like the river Phalgu, are flowing here? What are the things that it supports and what are the things that it doesn't support? Understanding all this is a fundamental requirement which we have tried to fulfill in this film by analyzing the history of not just this past 1 century of Bihar, but its past 300 centuries. Because no conclusive discussion on Bihar can ever take place without seeing what it went through in the past 3000 years. Also, we have tried to see what all Bihar has given to this country, to the world, and what are its unique features.
To begin with the unique features of Bihar that have existed in continuum from times immemorial to the times present, of which the prehistoric people are still giving what one may say a prehistoric proof in Chirand. At a place called Chirand, which is about 11 kilometers from Chhapra, a town on the northern bank of Ganga, the archaeological remains of a new Stone Age settlement dating back to 2000 BC were discovered about 60 years ago. Despite the existence of several civilizations from antiquity, the uniqueness of Chirand is incomparable even with Burzholm, which is in Kashmir, and which predates it almost by 1,000 years. The reason behind the Neolithics settling in Chirand was the cultivable topsoil alluvium, which is 100 feet deep even today. The hunting-gathering nomads started doing agriculture here itself. The foundations of settled agriculture in a riverine valley in India for the first time was laid down here itself, and here itself did the nomads become settled people. Not only this,
जब सारे रिसोर्सेज जीवन यापन के वहाँ उपलब्ध हैं और लगातार हमें वहाँ एक दर एक सभ्यता नवपाषाण युग से लेकर गुप्त काल तक मिल रही है, आयरन एज भी हमें वहाँ उपलब्ध है, तो वो अति उत्तम लोकेशन था जीवन निर्वाह के लिए, प्राचीन समाज के जो लोग थे उनके लिए। इसीलिए लगातार उसी साइट पर ईसा पूर्व 2000 से लेकर गुप्त काल तक वहाँ लोग लगातार निवास करते आए।
Chirand is the most primeval and the most prestigious testimony of the uniqueness of Bihar. The inimitability of this state is again outstandingly reflected in the field of religion. Several faiths took birth here and reached their pinnacle as well. Gaya, Bihar's Vedic age town, one of the oldest Hindu shrines, on the banks of the subterranean river Phalgu.
गया जी जो है पितृ के लिए सारे तीर्थ जितने भी भारत के अंदर तीर्थ हैं, सभी तीर्थों का प्राण गया जी को कहा गया है। इसलिए कहा गया है कि कोई भी तीर्थ स्थान में आप जाते हैं तो वहाँ जो भी आप अपने दान दक्षिणा या जो भी करते हैं उसका जो है फल आपको स्वयं मिलता है। और गया जी में जो भी आप दान करते हैं या जल दान करते हैं या भगवान का चरण को ही स्पर्श करते हैं तो इसका प्रमाण बतलाया है। अत्र विष्णु पदम दिव्यम दर्शनाद पापनाशनम अर्श पर्श पूजनं चैव पितृणाम मुक्ति हेतवे। भगवान को चरण को और स्पर्श करने से आपका आत्मा शुद्ध होता है और अपने मरे हुए पितृ को जो है मोक्ष प्राप्त होता है।
In the entire country, only Gaya ensures salvation to the souls of once departed ancestors. It was Magadh that bestowed upon Mahavir a separate path for liberation by giving him birth, pure knowledge, sainthood and salvation. Pavapuri. The faithful bowed in obeisance to his land, which gives supreme knowledge, picked up so many pinches of the hallowed soil of this place that it got converted into a pond. Jal Mandir, the lake temple.
पूरे विश्व में जो अहिंसा का संदेश फैलाया वो सर्वप्रथम महावीर के काल से या जैन धर्म के काल से ही शुरू हुआ। जो पारसनाथ उसके पहले आदिनाथ जी थे, ये जैन परंपरा के अनुसार भगवान की अहिंसा परमो धर्म का जो पावन उपदेश हुआ वो इसी मगध में दिया गया। तो वो गौरव बिहार को ही प्राप्त है और वो इसी धरती पर भगवान महावीर स्वामी जी का जन्म भी हुआ था, निर्वाण भी प्राप्त हुआ था इसी बिहार में। इसलिए यहाँ की मिट्टी आज भी श्रद्धालु लोग संजोग के रखते हैं और अपने परिजनों से मंगवाते हैं। जो कोई भी यहाँ जल मंदिर आते हैं वो यहाँ की मिट्टी को हम लोग अवश्य देते हैं और वो अपने घरों में मंगल कल्याणार्थ ले जाते हैं।
If this land kept the ultimate knowledge afloat like a lotus at one place, at another place it bestowed the same in the form of the soothing shade of the sacred ficus tree upon the wandering Siddhartha, giving him enlightenment on the banks of Niranjana, Bodh Gaya. The knowledge of Nirvana stands tall like a lighthouse here even today. Mahabodhi Temple. Man and woman, male and female, two complementary principles of nature. Nature never discriminates between them. But, ironically, among the humans, women were first disempowered deliberately and now for the past few decades are being empowered deliberately. Much before the struggle for women's empowerment began all over the world, Bihari women had attained the primordial right of participation in religious observances along with men. In the Treta Yuga, Sita performed the last rites of her father-in-law Dashrath in the absence of her husband Ram. Ironically, Hindu women are mostly barred from performing these rituals without their husbands even today. Pushed to his wits' end by the spiritual queries of Amrapali, the chief Kotsa of Vaishali, Buddha was forced to admit women into the Buddhist Sangha. Princess Chandanbala, with her exemplary sacrifice, attained the distinction of becoming Lord Mahavira's first female disciple. There were 16 female disciples of the Lord.
आज महिला सशक्तिकरण की बात हो रही है तो इसकी परिकल्पना बिहार में आज से 2500 साल पहले से ही थी, क्योंकि भगवान महावीर स्वामी जी के जो संघ में इनके जो मुनि बनते थे उनके अलावा साध्वियाँ भी इन्होंने बनाया, जिनमें प्रथम इनके शिष्या चंदनवाला महिला ही थी। ऐसे करके 16 उस समय 16 सती जी के नाम से जाने जाते थे, पुष्पा जी, दमयंती, ये सब मिला के। तो उस समय इनके संघ में महिलाएं जो साध्वी थी वो हर जगह हर एक विभिन्न गाँवों में जाकर के प्रतिबोध लोगों को देती थी और महिलाओं को जागरूक करती थी। बुद्ध के समय में, महावीर के समय में, दोनों के समय में त्याग की बात हो रही थी, तो महिलाओं ने भी त्याग करके दिखाया और यह अपने संघ में उन्होंने महावीर ने शामिल किया, इसलिए महिलाओं को वो स्थान मिला।
Sita, Chandanbala, Amrapali, and countless such women of yesteryears. What will they have to say about Bihar with respect to the global struggle for women's empowerment today? Facilitating the growth of Sikh religion had perhaps remained pending. So it had the 10th Guru, Govind Singh, take birth here. Through him, the Khalsa Panths, with the decree to all Sikhs forever for treating the Granth Sahib as their last Guru. Bihar welcomed religions of foreign origin also with equal generosity. In 1180, the first Imam from Jerusalem, Taj Faqih, arrived in Maner, located near Patna. Bihar held his piety and eventually Maner became Maner Sharif. There are only 3 such Sharifs in the country. In Patna Sahib is located the first church of the Roman Catholics, the mansion of the Padri of the 18th century. Shifting focus from religion to education, one finds incredible proofs of this land patronizing and nurturing research and knowledge of the highest quality. NALANDA University. Stress was on value-based education here. Students from several countries flocked here. The libraries of this university, Ratn Sagar, Ratnodadhi and Ratn Ranjak, towered till 9 floors. The present Ivy League universities of the USA brag about their student-teacher ratio, which was much better at Nalanda as far back as the 5th century AD. Then, 2,000 teachers supervised around 10,000 students. A 100 teachers were there for 1,000 students at Vikramshila University. In 1193, the Turk terror Bakhtiyar Khilji plundered these 2 universities, setting them ablaze. smoke kept rising silently for close to 9 months. While bringing down and burning buildings and books, Bakhtiyar Khilji failed to read and realize that the academic excellence of Nalanda and Vikramshila could never be destroyed. The land that had given birth to Nalanda and Vikramshila not only treasured the knowledge originated here, but like a subterranean river, spread its currents all over the world. Scholars from Nalanda went to Tibet and laid the foundations of the Buddhist religion there. The land preserved the knowledge and let the structures go. After all, it's the soul that is immortal, not the body. Knowledge is still immortal here, it's still being imparted here. And for most visitors from all over the world, these are mere archaeological remains. But looked at with a different insight, one realizes that Nalanda and Vikramshila still exist, continue to be, and no one can demolish them forever. It was Bakhtiyar Khilji rather who went down in history as a raider forever. During the same time period, in contrast to institutional learning, the master-pupil tradition had reached its zenith in the humble huts of Mithila. King Janak, Yagyavalk, Gautam, Gargi, Maitreyi, Mandan Mishra, his prodigious wife Bharati, all hailed from Mithila. Valmiki had composed his Ramayana here itself. As from land, religion and education, one gets overwhelming proofs of excellence even from polity. Bihar will always boast that at the time when the world knew of monarchy as the only system of governance, there was a robust system of democracy in Vaishali, which the world was to know and consider as the best system of administration 3,000 years later. Not for nothing did Buddha say that the council of the Lichvis in Vaishali comprised of devas, that is, gods. 150 kilometers from Vaishali is Rajgir, the first capital of the first Indian empire, Magadh. It was here on the Gridhakut mountain that Buddha had first opened his bank of knowledge for the common people. Here itself was held the first Buddhist council to compile Buddha's teachings. In these sacred grounds of Vaishali and Magadh, a portion of Buddha's remains were buried along with the seeds of an equitable society forever. If Rome enjoys the privilege of being a capital for the longest period of time in world history, Patliputra occupies the second position. Till almost 1000 AD, Patliputra was also one of the biggest and the most beautiful cities of the world. No wonder Ajatashatru's son, Udai, for building a new capital after Rajgir, had chosen this Patligram, a beautiful village abundant with the fragrant Patli or Bignonia suavolens flowers. The presiding deity of this village was Patan Devi, from whom Patna derived its name. The vision of one nation materialized from this very state at a time when it was at its political zenith. Prior to that, this subcontinent was a cluster of big and small sovereignties. The dream of one undivided nation from a fragmented subcontinent was seen by none other than the legendary master Chanakya. He chose Chandragupta having noticed in him the potential of becoming an emperor. Chandragupta did not belong to any royal family. Infused by the spirit of this land, which nurtured talent, Chanakya was convinced that it wasn't necessary that only a king's son could be a king. This was the beginning of an equitable society. The unparalleled combination of Chanakya and Chandragupta proves that in order to become an exceptional king, one needs an exceptional advisor by one's side, in any form, be it a master or a minister, whatever. This benevolent land doesn't support any selfishness or cruelty. Chandragupta's grandson, Chand Ashok, Chand meaning cruel, was imperialistic by nature. His kingdom extended till the eastern frontiers of present Iran. He waged many wars, but after the phenomenal bloodshed in the Battle of Kaling, he had a sudden transformation of heart. Did it happen accidentally? Was it a sheer chance? Certainly not. Influenced by the compassion of Buddhism, he changed from Chand Ashok to Dham Ashok. Dham means religious. In the place of battle drums in the whole of Magadh, drums of piety started reverberating. Ashoka started conquering and integrating hearts in place of conquering and integrating countries. Started preaching compassion in place of violence, ultimately becoming the patron and protector of humanity. Not for nothing did history confer upon him the title of the Great. What surprising that the government of India chose Ashoka's symbols of the wheel and the four-headed lions as national symbols? The legend of Ashoka the Great was furthered by the greats of the Gupta dynasty, leading to the dawn of India's golden period. Gupta period is considered to be the golden period of India. Administration and trade reached their zenith during this period. Coins of gold were issued. In every sphere, science, arts, music, literature, medicine, mathematics, education, astronomy, religion, philosophy, everywhere, new researches were done which ultimately became the pillars of Indian culture. Citizens had the liberty of practicing the faith of their choice. This is the land of Charak, who introduced Ayurveda to the world, who discovered and propounded such theories and principles of science which were much ahead of their times. The revelation that the sex of a child is determined by male chromosomes and not female chromosomes was made by Charak in 3rd century BC. This is the land of Aryabhat, who discovered the digit 0 and completely revolutionized the world of astronomy by making many groundbreaking discoveries. This is the land of Varahmihir, Sushrut, Vishnu Sharma, Ashwaghosh, Panini, of the creation of Abhigyan Shakuntalam and Meghdutam by Kalidas and the Kam Sutra by Vatsayan. Even those who trampled Magadh couldn't remain unaffected by its beauty. In the book, Tabqat Nasiri, they were the ones to call this place Bihar, which eventually became Bihar. Bahar in Urdu means spring. Amongst these invaders, a few esteemed this land higher than themselves. Sher Shah is one such name engraved in gold. This great son of a small state owner of Sasaram, in an utterly short reign of 5 years, advanced the great tradition of good governance established by the Mauryan and Gupta kings. He made radical changes in administration, introduced rupiah as the form of currency, established postal services, created the police force, and through many other similar initiatives brought about far-reaching changes in the country's governance. If roads are the backbone of growth and development, then Bihar will always take pride for having contributed this formula towards the development of the country since ancient times, and it is still doing so. The Mauryan kings built the Uttarpat from Takshila to Patliputra. Sher Shah extended it from Agra to Multan, naming it the Sarke-Azam. The British extended it further and called it the Grand Trunk Road, which in our independent India is the National Highway 2. It was Sher Shah who laid the foundations of the Bihar Suba, that's province, and renamed the extremely busy port town of Patliputra, situated at the confluence of 4 rivers, Patna.
Bihar has derived its name from 3 sources. According to mythology, Lord Shiva, whose abode is the Kailash in the Himalayas, he used to come here in Satyug for his vihar. That is why this place came to be known as Vihar in the mythological era. In the Buddhist era, due to the proliferation of Buddhist vihars, that is monasteries, this place once again came to be known as Vihar, and the Muslim rulers, owing to the unprecedented beauty of this place, called it Bahar. So Vihar and Bahar blending together rolled out of the native tongue as Bihar, moving a little away from the phonetic chasteness of Vihar and carrying a folkish resonance. Patna was named after the presiding deity of this town, Patan Devi, and was also named so because of the busy Pattan of this place, Pattan, which means a port. But immortal is Patliputra, first and foremost is Patliputra. So in these days, when many cities of the country are getting their original names, why shouldn't Patna also be renamed as Patliputra?
After reigning supreme for several centuries, the decline of this world leader began in the medieval period, and getting smaller and smaller progressively, it ended up eventually as an insignificant part of Bengal on the map of India. But for how long could have the people of the land of Chanakya, Chandragupta, Ashoka, Lord Buddha, Lord Mahavira, Guru Gobind Singh, Sher Shah, and many such great souls lived in the darkness of anonymity? From 1857, a new endeavor began. Bihar has been a cradle of many political and social movements too. Whenever virtues and morals have been severely threatened, this land has always produced a revolutionary to meet this challenge. Babu Kunwar Singh of Jagdishpur tops this list. The first person to oppose the British rule. Jagdishpur's Babu Kunwar Singh. The resurgence of Bihar began imperceptibly with the Sepoy Mutiny of 1857. By 1908, the demand for a Bihar for Biharis began ceaselessly reverberating in the tranquil blue sky. Eventually, Bihar eked out its independent existence once again on the political map of India in 1912. Hardly had the newborn opened its eyes that it got submerged in an historical deluge. North Bihar is said to be carrying the curse of Kosi. The background of the battle against the British was prepared in Bihar only. In 1917, when Rajkumar Shukla brought Gandhi ji to Champaran.
बिटियारवा जब आए तो अपने समसुइयों के साथ मेरे घर गए श्री रामपुर अमूलवा स्टेशन से उतरकर। दादा के घर स्नान भोजन करने के बाद यहाँ आए, यहाँ महुआ का पेड़ था, लोगों ने खाट दे दिया, उसी पर बैठ गए। तो उन्होंने किसान वर्ग से एक प्रस्ताव रखा कि आप लोग थोड़ी सी जगह दीजिए ताकि आश्रम सह पाठशाला हम बनाएं। तो किसान लोग सुनकर उनकी भावना को माने चाहते हुए भी नहीं कुछ बोल सके। तो गांधी जी मन ही मन समझ गए कि होए ना होए ऐसी हम अंग्रेज़ जो है उसी के भय से ही लोग जो है हमको ज़मीन देने को नहीं चाह रहा है। तो वहाँ पर बगल में पुजारी बैठे थे इस मंदिर के, उनका नाम था बाबा राम नारायण दास। तो बोले बाबा राम नारायण दास, आप तो भगवान के भक्त हैं, मैं जनता का सेवक हूँ, हम दोनों का मार्ग एक है, तो क्या थोड़ा सा आप जगह हमको नहीं दे सकते हैं? बाबा ने कहा कि हमको किसी से भय नहीं है, बोलिए कितनी जगह आपको चाहिए? तो गांधी जी खड़े होकर जैसे जैसे घूम गए, यह आश्रम 11 कट्ठा 5 धूर बाबा राम नारायण दास ने दिया है। 1919 में ट्रस्ट बना था जिसके सचिव मोहनदास करमचंद गांधी हुए, राजेंद्र बाबू, रामनवी बाबू, अभी तो नाम मैं भूला हूँ, 7 आदमी का नाम जो है डीड में अंकित है, जो डीड मेरे पास आज भी मौजूद है। और यहीं से देश जो है सत्याग्रह शुरू हुआ, देश आज़ाद भी हो गया।
It was the satyagraha begun from this very land that redeemed the plight of the poor indigo laborers and established Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi as the first popular national leader.
गांधी ने हमेशा कहा कि हम पैदा हुए गुजरात में, अलग बात है, लेकिन मेरे दूसरा प्रांत कोई है तो बिहार है, और बिहार ने हमको गांधी बनाया। वो उन्होंने 1921 में मीरा बहन को पत्र लिखा है कि इट वाज चंपारण दैट इंट्रोड्यूस्ड मी टू इंडिया। इसलिए गांधी को एनालाइज करके देखिएगा तो बिहार का इतिहास और गांधी का आना, वो हमारी जो परंपरा है, जो बुद्ध महावीर जो परंपरा चलती है, गांधी ने उस परंपरा में, जो गांधी बाहर का है, गुजराती है, और वो उसने उस परंपरा में एक और इम्पोर्टेंट सुनहरा बात जोड़ दिया है।
The Kisan movement of 1929 started from Bihar. Bunyadi Vidyalaya in 1939 and Mahila Charka Samiti in 1945 both started from Bihar. When Gandhiji called for the civil disobedience movement and the Quit India movement, the people of this state responded with their heart and soul. In each and every episode of the freedom struggle, there was full participation of every class, every community. Bihari leaders of exceptional character participated in these movements very effectively. Bihar was rocked by a disastrous earthquake in 1934. In 1935, the earth gave way again when certain parts of Bihar were carved out to form the Odisha state. Dr. Rajendra Prasad became the first president of independent India and remained so for 12 long years. No one till date has either been the president of India for so long or equaled Dr. Rajendra Prasad in stature. Both the governments of 1946 and 1947 were navigated by two distinguished leaders, Dr. Shri Krishna Sinha and Dr. Anugrah Narayan Singh. Their tenure was marked by sincerity, honesty, and selfless service to people. For this reason, Bihar was considered as one of the best governed states of that time. Among the architects of modern Bihar, these are a few. In due course of time, Bihar became the first state in the country to adopt Hindi as its first official language and Urdu as the second.
In certain parts of the country, Biharis are ridiculed for the way they speak Hindi. It may kindly be noted that even today, the mother tongue of 90% of Biharis is not Hindi. And at the time, Bihar became the first state in the country to give Hindi the status of the official language. At that point of time, the mother tongue of 99% of Biharis must not have been Hindi. It's absolutely certain. Therefore, the Hindi of Biharis is a proof of their nationalistic spirit and vision, of their tradition of putting the nation before the state, and of their culture of giving utmost respect to everything which is national in character. Which proof should serve as an example to those who raise their voice either against the national language or the spirit of national integration. Bihar has always upheld the ideals of nationalism because Bihar, which is a state today, was the country once upon a time. For centuries, the history of India was the history of Bihar only.
The Panchayati Raj system was first introduced in Bihar in 1948 to strengthen the democratic tradition in the villages. The Sarvodaya movement initiated by Gandhiji for the all-round development of the masses and the Bhudan movement begun by Vinoba Bhave in 1952 to distribute free land to landless laborers all received unprecedented success in Bihar. Shortly after this, in 1956, once again, Bihar was truncated. Certain parts of Bihar were given away to Bengal in the process of reorganization of states. Change is the only constant in nature. After having kept Congress in charge of the country for 90 long years, perhaps nature felt the need for a change, of advancing the country from the phase of a single party rule to the phase of coalition rule. Nature has its own way of working that can't be questioned. It created an atmosphere for this change, for the second freedom struggle, according to its own intelligence. Nature, from that very land, from that very place, where it had given its first expression to democracy, there could hardly be any wonder that it again chose a person to reinstate democracy in the country. The 72-year-old Jayaprakash Narayan from the historical Gandhi Maidan of Patna gave a clarion call not only for a change of government but for total revolution. The entire country once again, after about 28 years of independence, looked hopefully at a Bihari. Nature eventually resolved the dialectical conflict through this land and re-established democracy in the country. In the state, Karpuri Thakur gave a call to the exploited downtrodden class, urging them to fight for their esteem. He asserted that many a times, in order to live like a dignified human being, esteem gains precedence over subsistence. He took several steps to bring the majority reduced to living a backward and marginalized life of thousands of years into the social mainstream. Its immediate repercussion was that Bihar wobbled like a bullock cart on a bad road for almost 3 decades.
आरजेडी का जो शासनकाल था वो एक बिहार का एक बहुत ही डिसाइसिव मोमेंट था, जो कि बिहार में जो इलेक्टोरल डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन हुआ या जो कई तरह का जो सोशल मूवमेंट्स हुआ, चाहे वो किसान मूवमेंट हो या त्रिवेणी संघ का मूवमेंट हो या सोशलिस्ट मूवमेंट हो या कम्युनिस्ट मूवमेंट हो या नक्सलाइट मूवमेंट हो, तो उसका जो एक कलेक्टिव देन था बिहार में, जिसमें कि डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन काफ़ी हो गया था, उस पीरियड में आरजेडी का रूल हुआ। तो इवन अदरवाइज ऑल्सो बिहार में जो एक जो फ्यूडल जो एक कंसोलिडेशन था वो ब्रेक हुआ, और उस ब्रेक होने के चलते लोगों को वॉइस मिला, मगर वहीं तक वो बात रुक गई थी।
Then came a phase during which Bihar remained perpetually in the news for wrong reasons. In the year 2000, its industrial and mineral resource-rich southern part was bifurcated to form Jharkhand. Within no time, it was declared backward according to the elitist definition and modern parameters of development. According to economists engrossed in jugglery of figures and data, oblivious of the socio-political objectives of a welfare state, be it social justice or empowerment or inclusive growth. An immensely negative image of Bihar emerged in the modern world. Bihar became a synonym for backwardness, for being sick. The westward-looking intelligentsia, parishioners of modernity and Euro-American model of development, wasted no time in declaring Bihar a Bimaru state, a sick state. In the exalted world of these people, being poor is being sick. However, the journey of that bullock cart didn't come to a halt. It went around the entire country through the parliament, and as a consequence, the history of this country changed forever. The history of this world tells us that whenever a revolution has begun, no matter how imperceptibly, a bit of upheaval has unavoidably taken place, creating a stir in large or small measure, as it happens when a huge elephant descends into a small pond. Therefore, people should not lament over becoming economically backward during such a transitional phase, because nature does justice, restores balance in its own unique way, which it is now doing in Bihar. Apart from this, it's certain that the 3 to 4 decades which Bihar went through in the past will remain very significant in all times to come. Nature does justice without exception. There is no injustice, no mistake in its divine play. Yes, many a times men mistake in interpreting its celestial design. The 30-odd years of Biharis that nature had dropped them off for integrating that class which had been marginalized and forced to remain economically backward for thousands of years into the mainstream, due to which the wheels of progress had been sort of stalled. Its time and turn of being compensated had arrived, nature seemed to be indicating about 8 years ago. What a splendid coincidence that the person whom nature decided to invest with the responsibility of fulfilling the task of compensation is today being hailed unanimously as the best chief minister in the country. He gave proof of indomitable spirit, remarkable enterprise, great determination, and untiring capability to work. Bad roads hinder not only the wheels of progress, but shatter the momentum of all kinds of wheels in motion. So he got roads and bridges repaired on war footing. The historical tradition of laying good roads got revived once again in Bihar. Bihar's roads can easily be counted among the best roads in the country today.
मेरे उस सपने में है कि किशनगंज के किसी गांव से या कैमूर की पहाड़ी से या बांका या जमुई के जंगलों से या फिर धनहा के इलाके से अगर कोई व्यक्ति चले किसी गांव से तो 6 घंटे से कम समय में पटना पहुंच जाए। मुझे खुशी है कि अब लगता है कि वो सपना बहुत जल्दी साकार होगा। 2 साल 3 साल कम से कम मेरे इस कार्यकाल में वो सपना तो जरूर पूरा होगा।
When the state got new roads, progress also got new wheels. On new wheels, it first went to school. It started its journey from education. Education, which is a basic condition for progress. Education, which is the key to entry into the maze of empowerment. In a state where, till just about 5 years ago, it was impossible for girls to go near a bicycle, the picture of a girl cycling alone on a forlorn village track, even in late evening hours, is common today. It reflects the revolutionary transformation in people's attitudes and social situations. Now the nights are safe and days free from tension.
साइकिल देने मात्र से ही नहीं हुआ, भय मुक्त समाज बनाया सरकार ने। ये भय मुक्त समाज बनने का कारण हुआ कि निर्भीकता आई बच्चियों में, और आज संध्या के 5 बजे 7 बजे तक वे सड़कों पर साइकिल से आ जा रही हैं और उन्हें किसी तरह के असुरक्षा का भय नहीं है।
मैं पिछले 3 साल से रेगुलरली बिहार आ रही हूँ और मैं फील्ड वर्क के लिए काफ़ी जगह ट्रैवल किया है मैंने। नॉर्थ बिहार में, साउथ बिहार में, पूर्णिया, अररिया, रोहतास, काफ़ी सारे ज़िलों में ट्रैवल किया है। तो बिहार में मैंने बस सुना है कि बिहार बहुत अनसेफ है, पर मैं जब ट्रैवल करती हूँ तो मुझे ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं लगता। गांव का माहौल बिहार में बहुत ही सेफ़ है। इनफैक्ट आपके गांव तो ऐसे हैं जहाँ औरतें अकेली रहती हैं, गांव में औरतें अकेली रहती हैं, मर्द ही नहीं है, केवल बच्चों के साथ, बुज़ुर्गों के साथ औरतें अकेली रहती हैं। और हमने भी अपने सर्वेज़ में पूछा है तो हमें क्लियरली निकल के आता है कि पिछले 10 सालों में औरतें अपने आप को काफ़ी सेफ़ महसूस करती हैं गांव में, और मुझको भी काफ़ी सेफ़ महसूस हुआ है। मुझे बिल्कुल कोई अनसेफ्टी या फियर की बात नहीं आई है।
This revolution that came on 2 wheels certifies that one correct and comprehensive decision at the level of policy making can propel the society 10 years in one jump. With cycles came the uniforms, scholarships, midday meals, and enthusiasm of teachers and students, all of which collectively and cumulatively contributed towards increasing admissions and ensuring the presence of students in schools.
जब हम 2009 में आए थे उस समय हमारे पास करीब 1200 लड़कियां थी। आज के डेट में हमने जितने भी यंग टीचर आए हैं सब मिलकर इस ढंग से पढ़ाई लिखाई की कि चारों पट्टी अट्रैक्शन हो गया, और अभी के डेट में हमारे यहाँ कुल 2600 लड़कियां भी हो गई है। 1200 से हमें 2600 पहुँचा दें। इसमें सिर्फ देन मेरा ही नहीं है बल्कि सभी शिक्षकों का योगदान है जो निस्वार्थ भाव से बहुत मेहनत करते हैं। मैं समझता हूँ कि बहुत मेहनत करते हैं।
Having made the maximum progress in female literacy in the country in the past 10 years, Bihar received the President's Literacy Award for the decade. Girls from the humble hamlets of Bihar are now ready to embark upon a long journey.
पढ़ने के पीछे मेरा एक एम है इंजीनियर बनना। जब तक अपना एम पूरा नहीं कर लेते तब तक शादी नहीं होगी।
हम भी जब तक अपना जॉब नहीं करेंगे जब तक शादी नहीं करेंगे।
कि ये साइकिल योजना जो है बालिकाओं के लिए एक पंख है और इनकी उड़ान ऊंची है। ये तो अब साइकिल से ही आसमान की दूरी नापेंगी, लगता है कि इसमें भी बहुत दिल्ली दूर नहीं है।
Through computers and internet today, the girls from even rural Bihar have accessed not only the nooks and corners of our own country, but even the world. On the other hand, those who had migrated to other states and foreign lands generations ago are now returning with spring in their hearts and the song of the homeland on their lips. This summer, when the mango orchards are fragrant with emerald blooms and the cotton silk tree abounds with red flowers, Sundari's song of yearning, similar to the solitary cuckoos, will fade into the background. For her hero is returning. There has been a substantial drop in migration. Migration, for many reasons, should stop. But no one is opposed to people going away from their homes for education or employment. Rather, our Chief Minister is of the opinion that Biharis are hardworking and intelligent. So wherever they get an opportunity for development, be it Mumbai or Kolkata or even the moon, they must go. Decades and centuries ago, those who were taken abroad for possessing these very qualities have today reached the highest office there. On the contrary, in our own country, no profession or sector has remained untouched by the Bihari talent. Trade goes to Bihar for the fact that its labor has changed the face of many a state, yet in return, Biharis have had to bear the brunt of the divide and create conflict culture of politics. They have had to suffer contempt and condescension, derision and disdain. It is becoming increasingly difficult to live with a disrespectful identity and tolerate being addressed impertinently.
Banke Bihari, that is Lord Krishna, is slightly myth of the past few decades, because in most parts of the country, people have developed a culture of addressing him disrespectfully. "Hey Bihari, oh Bihari, abhe Bihari hai kya?" Although he has not used the Sudarshan Chakra till now, because perhaps he understands that the esteem of the person being impertinently addressed does get affected for a little while, but more than him, the insolent person inflicting the injury, the moment he opens his mouth, he gives away the secret of his bad upbringing. He reveals how regressive his family is, and that his family for generations has had no brush with education or refinement. And interestingly enough, on the reverse, these same uneducated, uncultured, uncouth people, when they seek his shelter and benevolence, he doesn't lessen his generosity even an iota.
बहुत से लोग जो बाहर से आए उनको यहाँ का सोसाइटी अडॉप्ट कर लिया। ये काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग डेवलपमेंट है कि बिहार से कई नॉन बिहारी लोग पार्लियामेंट में इलेक्टेड हुए, क्योंकि वो उस तरह का पेरोकुलिज्म नहीं दिखाई पड़ा। तो बिहार कुछ मामले में बहुत ही कंपैटिबल सोसाइटी है, बहुत ही क्या बोलें, जिसमें कि लोग को स्पेस मिलता है। इस तरह का हम समझते हैं कंपैशनेट सोसाइटी कहीं शायद नहीं होगा।
In the very beginning of the film, the cardinal principle of diversity in nature was emphasized, and it was stated that each country and each state, therefore, ought to have its own model of development. Because, among other things, the core competence of one state is in all likelihood to differ from the other. Assam and Rajasthan cannot have the same model of development, much less the Euro-American model professed by the 8th state of our country. No two states should also ever be compared with each other. Bihar's model of development is development with justice, and its core competence is agriculture, in which it has made unprecedented progress.
हम लोगों ने 67 लाख मेट्रिक टन धान का रिकॉर्ड उत्पादन किया है। नालंदा जिले के 2 किसानों ने धान के उत्पादन में विश्व का कीर्तिमान स्थापित किया है।
कि आपने भी महसूस किया है, योजना आयोग ने भी और भारत सरकार ने भी, कि दूसरी हरित क्रांति देश के पूर्वी हिस्सों में आई। उसी पूर्वी हिस्से में बिहार भी है। हमने उससे आगे बढ़कर इंद्रधनुषी क्रांति का खाका तैयार किया, और मुझे उम्मीद है कि अगले पंचवर्षीय योजना में दिखावे के लिए नहीं, 400 करोड़ रुपए से कोई दूसरी हरित क्रांति नहीं आएगी। हमने 1.5 लाख करोड़ से भी ज्यादा की योजना बनाई है, अगले 5 वर्षों में हम कृषि के क्षेत्र में लगाएंगे। हम पहले राज्य हैं जहां हमने कृषि कैबिनेट बनाया, कैबिनेट कमेटी ऑन एग्रीकल्चर, कृषि से जुड़े हुए तमाम पहलू। मैं सिर्फ हरित क्रांति के लिए काम नहीं कर रहा, मैं तो इंद्रधनुषी क्रांति के लिए काम कर रहा हूँ। अगर थोड़ी आपकी सहायता मिल जाए तो हर हिंदुस्तानी के थाल में बिहार का एक व्यंजन पहुंचाने का सपना हमारे साथ।
The Chief Minister's dream that Bihari cuisine reach every Indian's plate is being actualized by a white revolution popularly known as Sudha. More than 1,600 cooperative dairy societies, out of which there are about 550 women cooperative societies. Employment to lakhs of people with an average daily collection of 2.25 liters of milk. More than 8,000 distribution centers in over 100 towns take Sudha's milk and milk products to Delhi, Gurgaon, Odisha, Kolkata, Jharkhand, Guwahati and Nepal. Its annual income exceeds more than 1,350 crores. Between 2000 and 2007, it received awards for Best Productivity Performance 4 times, many certificates of merit, ISO 9001-2000 and ISO 15000 certification, and the Vanijyakar Ratna Bhamasha Samman for excelling in business. An efficient public health service working properly is perhaps more important than employment or even education. When the crew of this film reached a primary health center in the Vaishali district without any prior intimation to shoot at 5 p.m., they found the 40th surgery of the day was underway. In Nirmali, a small town located close to the Indo-Nepal border, they were equally surprised to find a functional cold chain, which is of key value in vaccination campaigns, existing in a small public health center. What can be more apt a statement on the present situation of the public health service in Bihar? Working relentlessly for the past 5 years in the field of vaccination, Bihar surpassed the national average in 2011. Infant mortality rate has seen a sharp decline and institutional delivery a sudden rise. A polio-free Bihar got a congratulatory letter from Bill Gates himself, in which he expressed his hope that other states emulating Bihar will help in making this world campaign a success. Only 7.98 lakh patients had visited government hospitals in 2007-2009, whereas by the August of 2011, this figure had jumped to 2.45 crores. By constructing new hospitals and making doctors and medicines available around the clock, public health service has been completely revamped in Bihar. One of the principal reasons for the health services being in shambles in the past was corruption. Bihar is the first state to attack corruption systematically. The assets of all bureaucrats and politicians are made public on the government's website. Under the special court ordinance, cases of corruption are dealt with speedily. The illegitimate properties of the corrupt are confiscated and schools opened in them. Even the Chief Minister comes under the purview of the Lokayukt Ordinance 2011. New measures were taken to give the RTI law an edge in Bihar.
अब तक हम लोगों के यहाँ 70,353 मुकदमे दायर हुए, जिसमें 65,455 मुकदमों का निष्पादन हुआ। केवल 4,998 मुकदमे लंबित हैं जो पाइपलाइन में हैं। आप कह सकती हैं कि पेंडेंसी के रूप में हमारे यहाँ कोई पेंडेंसी नहीं है, और ये बात कहते हुए मुझे हर्ष हो रहा है कि हम लोग इंडिया में नंबर 1 पे हैं डिस्पोजल ऑफ केसेज में। दूसरी हमारी सबसे बड़ी उपलब्धि है जानकारी कॉल सेंटर। जानकारी कॉल सेंटर की व्यवस्था ऐसी है कि टेलीफोन पर आप अपने घर में बैठे कोई भी सूचना प्राप्त कर सकती हैं। उसमें प्रथम अपील भी दायर कर सकती हैं, द्वितीय अपील भी दायर कर सकती हैं, और अभी तक 1,10,000 लोगों ने जानकारी कॉल सेंटर का उपयोग किया है।
Jankari has received the e-governance award for 2008-2009. It wasn't an easy task to attain the excellent growth rate of 11.35% from a state of dismal performance. But today, the state and the state leadership are inundated with awards, accolades, and appreciation. Today, having reinvented itself, Bihar is galloping on the road to progress. Today, norms are new, forms are new. Its successful model of good governance is being enthusiastically discussed all over the world. Many other Indian states and countries of the world are adopting it too. A new movement, a new model of women's empowerment has emerged in Bihar. It is a daring step to reserve 50% seats for women in the Gram Panchayat.
हम लोगों ने महिलाओं को और 50% का आरक्षण देकर पूरे देश को एक दिशा देने का काम किया है।
हमारा पंचायत में वार्ड में महिला है, मुखिया भी मैं महिला हूँ, सरपंच भी महिला है, बीडीसी महिला है, इधर मान लेते हैं हमारा प्रखंड प्रमुख भी महिला है, चेयरमैन महिला है।
Similar to women, the minority communities whom time and misfortune had tossed away from the mainstream, the state administration is committed to educate, employ, and empower them through its innovative schemes. To prove itself, this commitment should percolate down and touch the lives of the masses. Every Monday morning, the Chief Minister holds a Janata Darbar, an open court to redress the complaints of people. In the past 100 years, there must have been 100 things, 100 people who ought to have been mentioned in this film. But due to paucity of time, we, with all apologies, are just showing glimpses, and that too of only a few of them. These are glimpses of a few people whom we interviewed for this film and places we shot for this film. Our apologies to all of them for not being able to include them properly in this film for lack of space. We are also deliberately omitting a few great names who, though belonging to Bihar, never aligned themselves with it. A few children turn out to be truant and insensitive. The black sheep who, after growing up, instead of serving their mothers, completely sever their relations with her. What can one say of such children? It's better to disown and forget them.
Nowhere in the whole world perhaps will you find that in an as small a place as Bihar, democracy, good governance, multiple paths for spiritual development, value-based education, research, knowledge, pioneering political effort and effective social change through it, establishment of an equitable society for the equal welfare of one and all, nationalistic disposition, etc. existed together for 3,000 years continuously as they did here in Bihar. But please do not think that the objective of the film was to sing praise of the glory of Bihar that is past. The objective of the film was to reacquaint the world with the state, because during the past few decades Bihar had come under a kind of an ominous spell of a curse, due to which it was in the news for wrong reasons always. And the whole world had formed only negative opinion about it. Also, because of that curse, the present and future of Bihar have acquired the difficult character of an insurmountable mountain, a turbulent sea, a dark, dense, deep forest, a burning desert, which the Biharis will succeed in crossing one day certainly. But in the process, they will perhaps have to keep in mind the character of this land, what it supports, what it doesn't. Otherwise, Biharis don't forget their past in the future, rather take it to new heights was the intended purpose of this film, a plea, a prayer made through this film. Thank you, Pranam, glory to Bihar, glory to India.
ज्योतिर्गमय असतो सद्गमय तमसो ज्योतिर्गमय नित्य